And we are live. Welcome to the MLB Strategy Show, Tuesday, September 3rd. We are now at our new normal time for the rest of the MLB season, barring, weird schedules and live before locks and stuff. 9 a.m. We're breaking it all down. 10-game slate ahead of us for tonight. So hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman. And sign up at Stochastic. Links in the description. You can still grab baseball packages if you want and hang out with me for the next month. Or sign up for the NFL. I'll hit you guys with that deal in a little bit. Yesterday's early slate stunk. The Orioles were awesome. Couldn't figure out how to get to them other than manually building it, which worked. Oh, well, what are you going to do? Today, we've got the Dodgers with around a 6-run implied total. We've got the Yankees with a 5+ run implied total. And then we have the Braves with Sale on the hill at home against the Rockies. And the Rockies have a sub-3 implied total. This game is going to be insane because Chris Sale is going to be 65+% owned. The Rockies are terrible. And the Braves look good as well. Third in top stack for me, number one in top value. They're just really not stackable because it's outfield, first outfield. So we'll have that conversation in a bit. We'll look at what is a dreadful, absolutely dreadful pitching slate. Just gross. Yeah, Verlander was not good, but you know what was good? Betting his under in Ks. That worked out for me. Let's just talk about some of the stacks. I've got step 1 of my sim has run. So let's finish off step 2. And I can get my lineups in, I don't know, probably in about 5 minutes or so. We can take a look at where I stand to start the day. All right, so that's running. So let's just talk about a couple teams that rank highly. We'll go to the team that I have with the highest top stack odds for today. And that's going to be the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, I have them number 1 in top stack score, 16%. Number 6 in value at 7%, which sounds crazy, but Ohtani's 7K, but he hits leadoff. That's the right salary. Mookie Betts is 6,300. He hits second. That's the right salary. After that, it's 5,200 or below. They're really not that difficult to get to. Now, Detmer's on the hill is a little bit of a different conversation, but I don't know about you guys, but I'm not in any way surprised that the Dodgers are the number 1 stack here. The park plays up power. What kind of weather do we have today? I'm guessing 75. 80. All right, so 80-degree weather at first pitch. It's hard to not want to go to the Dodgers. Now, they are also the most owned team. Similarly, the Yankees are second in my top stack score. They're second most in ownership. The Braves are third in top stack score. They are third in ownership. So I think the top 3 teams are being figured out the correct way. And what we get from a value perspective will be interesting. The other piece that will be very interesting, and we're going to kind of jump ahead here. Chris Sale is 10,000, which is $1,000 more than Paul Skeens. I have Chris Sale at 27.8 fantasy points today. I'm not confident I've ever seen a score that high. I've got him 5 points ahead of Skeens. He's making a guy like Skeens look like a clear can't even conversate about him on the top line. So, it's Sale. Sale is so good today. I have his implied ownership at 70%. He looks so good today that it really changes the scope of what you can get to from a hitting perspective because you're allocating 10-8. But it's not even just that. Let's see if I can make this a little bit easier to see. Let's highlight this just so you guys can get like a perspective. So for me, boom score is how often does the pitcher shown here hit this score here in this cell. This is 27.8. Now, I set this to imply that like two people can do it, and those are the two best guys. But in theory, you don't even really need 27.8. You need like, 24 or something like that, and you're happy. But Sale is twice as likely to do it as Skeens. And Skeens is basically twice as likely to do it as anybody other than Luis Castillo. You have Sale, Skeens, Castillo, and to a degree, David Peterson. And then it's just garbage. Kyle Freeland looks awful. JT Ginn looks awful. I'm not excited about Andrew Heaney against the Yankees. Matz, Hendricks. I mean, Savali at 6,300, sure. Walker Buehler at 7K. I mean, that guy is not the same person he's been. Ryan Nelson, Cutter Crawford, like all of this is bad. And it makes me think, well, if I got to roster a lot of Sale, and I probably want to roster a lot of Skeens, and by all accounts, Luis Castillo seems like a guy that should get some love. What am I doing at hitting? Because with the amount of salary that it's going to take to get to those key pitchers, like, are the Dodgers cheap-ish? Yeah, they are. Are the Yankees cheap-ish? No. I mean, 6,900 for Judge, 6,500 for Soto. Stanton and Chisholm are both in the fives. Like, it's fine, but you're trying to, like, if you don't want or if you don't want Aaron Judge today, righty lefty against Heaney in a park that plays up right-handed power, 131 park factor, like, of course you want to get to Aaron Judge. But at 6,900, like, how many different things? Like, if you're like, all right, I want Sale and I want Castillo, how the hell do you get to Judge and then more real people? You might not. And that's where it starts to get gross. Now, you look at the Braves and it's like, okay, these guys are cost effective. It's Ozuna and Olsen. Everybody else is really cheap. They're the number one value team on the slate. But all you're really doing is like cornering the market on outfielders and down the lineup guys. When you go second, and these guys are better than like the normal 6, 7, 8, 9, but second, short, catcher, third, 6, 7, 8, 9, you're not really getting the part of the lineup that you want. This game is in Atlanta, so plate appearances in theory are going to be reduced and compared to the road team. Like, there's a very realistic chance that the Braves are only playing 8 innings, which means it's a lot harder to get to Merrifield and Arcia and Murphy and Urshela. Maybe that doesn't matter. Maybe they just beat the shit out of the Rockies so bad that, they still get 5 plate appearances. But while I want to get to the Braves, and I'm hopeful that I can, outfield, first, outfield is a really difficult start. All right, so my sim just finished. So I can run my final lineup selector. Done. And we can at least dump these in and figure out, what am I actually getting to? That's the thing we're looking to find out. Because now we can take a peek and get some context. Yeah, Steven, I don't want to do that. I think that a slate like this is really good for someone that wants to dig in a little bit more, because I think it naturally is going to funnel people to the same spots. All right. Yeah, we got a lot to talk about now. Getting this information is helpful. I'm going to hit the pitching first so you guys see it, and then we could talk about the stacks, because I like what I just saw, and I think it's how it's going to end up having to be. 92. Oh, boy. Okay. 92% Sale. And then we're just like, nah, fam. We don't have enough money for Skeens and Castillo. 32% Aaron Savali. 16% Reed Detmers. 12% Kyle Freeland. We are racing to the bottom. Now, I'm not surprised by that. But let's look at what we're actually getting. So I'm going to go through the top stack teams first. So we talked about the Dodgers. For right now, I'm basically neutral. It's a bigger stand on Tommy Edman. I assume I'm locking him in at short, but it's I'm neutral-ish. Light on Ohtani, neutral on Betts, Freeman, Teoscar, Will Smith. It's just average. I've got 11%. So I am still working into the Dodgers. Similarly, I am working into the Braves. We're getting Harris, Solero, Zuna. Fine. And then Arcia is getting a bit of a bump. 3K shortstop, not surprised. The Yankees, I'm a little light on. And I'm not surprised. Now, I'm getting Gleyber. If he's in the leadoff spot at 4K against a lefty, that's amazing. And I'm getting a bit of Judge. But I can't really get much more. You can see it on the side of the screen here. These two columns, Josh and Own, show where I am and where the field is. 2x Guardians, 2x Brewers, 2.5x Rangers, a little bit north on the Mariners, a little bit north on the Cardinals. But finding these teams, in particular the Guardians and the Brewers and the Rangers, I'm taking a 2x stand on 3 different teams that really aren't pulling all that much ownership. That, I think, is something we can dig into now. I kind of want to add another column for opposing starting pitcher. Can I do that quickly without screwing this up? Let's find out. The formatting is going to be shit. All right. So we want to look up this team name in the opponent section. And then we want ownership. Perfect. One little formatting line on top and one little formatting line on the side, because if I don't fix my formatting, I go nuts. I'll reapply the rest of this formatting in a bit. We'll actually clear this and apply it. So I'll fix that later. But I want them to see sort of who are we stacking against any major ownership. We're not stacking with the Rockies against Sale. We're not stacking with the Cubs against Skeens. We're not stacking the A's against Castillo. So we're not really, today doesn't seem to be a day where we're going to be running up against actual ownership, which I think is interesting to think about. But let's go. I want to go through the teams that I'm over the field on. So I'm going to start with the Rangers since they're the team I have the most. I have them 7th in top stack, 7th in top value. They're around 8% owned. But I have big stands on a couple individuals here. Marcus Semien, Josh Jung, Adolis Garcia. Now, these guys are all sub 10% owned. But I don't know if you guys can see this perfectly. I have positive leverage on Semien, positive leverage on Jung, positive leverage on Adolis Garcia. They are the 3 guys that are popping up here for me. It's a $4,900 second baseman, a $3,800 third baseman, and a $4,400 outfielder, but righty-lefty with power. It is Rodon, but righty-lefty. So to get to those three guys, righty, 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 I might add, I love this portion of the Rangers. Whether you like the Rangers in full or not, I think Marcus Semien, Josh Jung, Adolis Garcia as a trio at 8% across the board, I would be anchoring that to lineups if I can. But as I look at this, I'm very happy with getting to the Rangers. Let's take a peek at the power numbers for Rodon. All right, so we're going to go Texas, Rodon in, make this bigger so you guys can see it. So this year, 210 X ISO against Rodon over 2,100 pitches. If you add last year in, you get another 1,000. It's still over 200. Carlos Rodon gives up major power to righties. Semien has a 180 X ISO against lefties with this pitch mix. Even Seager's at 237 against lefties. Young is at 269. Garcia's at 221. Like, I'm really liking the righties from Texas here. Even Wyatt Langford or Carson Kelly or like whatever righty you can find today outside of basically like Leotis Tavares is great. So I don't know where you guys stand here, but as I look at Texas, I am very happy to be taking a stand on some of these righty bats. 131 park factor to righties, man. That looks good. Let's go to the next one. That's going to be the Guardians. So Guardians have Brady Singer on the opposite side. Let's just immediately look at it. So Singer, major power issues this year against lefties, 212 X ISO. Gives up no power whatsoever to righties. Similarly, if you add in last year, Brady Singer can't get a lefty out to save his life when it comes to power. Righties just don't touch him up. So, as we look at Cleveland, we get Steven Kwan in the leadoff spot. Looks fantastic. You've got Jimenez hitting second. I mean, think about what I just said. Based on the lineup that we have right now, lefty power destroys Brady Singer. We're going lefty, 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 lefty. The righty in Noel, who is basically like Pedro Serrano. Another lefty, Lane Thomas, who's fine. Another lefty in Bo Naylor. Like, the only thing that's saving Brady Singer today is that there's a 79 park factor for lefty power. So we're really just slamming up against an interesting spot. I'm very happy to have Cleveland. In particular, either Kwan or Jimenez, especially Jimenez, since we're going lefty-righty and you're getting a 3,700 second baseman. Obviously, getting Jose Ramirez always feels good. So I'm happy to have some shares of him. I mean, these lefties look great. Like, I have no issue not having a share of Noel in this lineup. Just doesn't feel like that kind of spot. But to get to the lefties, I almost want more Cleveland. So 2 teams in of like middle of the pack guys. I like Cleveland more than it seems, and I definitely like the Rangers more than it seems. The other team that we need to look at is the Brewers, who I'm also 2Xing. Steven Matz on the hill for the Cardinals. So let's take a peek at Matz. Now, Matz has thrown 500 pitches this year. Not going well for him. 376 xWOBA to lefties, 379 to righties. Not striking anybody out. Not getting any swinging strikes. If you add in last year, it's not that much of a sample. Is it better? Sure. But it's still Steven Matz. It's not a guy that you're like outwardly nervous about. Park plays up power. if we just think about it for Matz, even when Matz was himself, lefties going to struggle. Righties are going to be in a good spot. So we're looking right now at a lineup projected to have 8 righties to start, and then Bryce Turang in the final spot. How could you not want Jackson Chourio, Blake Perkins at 2,900? Like, Blake Perkins is not a guy with pop. Steamer projects it at a 128. He's had 175 plate appearances across 2 years against lefties. It's a 120 X ISO. Is he a great hitter? No. At 2,900? Yes. I think it's very different. Obviously, William Contreras looks like a great, home run style pick. Willie Adames, Hicklin, Sanchez, Hoskins. Steven Matz is going to have a lot of trouble getting through all of this. And this is just another spot that I look at where I'm sitting in that 12, 13, 14% aggregate ownership range. Given the things that we have to do with pitching, this is what we want. So right now I have 5 teams north of 10%. Braves, Guardians, Brewers, Rangers, and Dodgers. Love it. Love it. And the team that's getting ownership that we're not really getting to is the Yankees. I'm not surprised by that. They're really hard to get to. I talked about the Braves being like a little difficult to stack because of how much outfield they have at the top. It's the same story for the Yankees. They're just not as cost efficient on a lineup to lineup basis. So that's why we get to Atlanta first. Now, there are teams like the Rockies and Cubs that we don't have. I'm cool with it. We don't have the Mets or the Red Sox. They don't really grade out all that well. The A's, the Giants, the Diamondbacks. These are all teams that I have like 3% top stack or lower. So if they're not the teams that I'm going to get to, I'm absolutely stoked about the ownership that we have right now. I just think it looks really good. Let's do that. There we go. A little bit smaller. Yeah, Rangers, Brewers, Guardians. I legitimately hope that holds until we get to lock, because I'm really happy about it. What do you guys like? Hit me with some teams that we haven't looked at yet that you guys want to see. What do you guys have your eye on? I feel like we had to hit it. I don't like the Braves, the Yankees, the Dodgers are obvious. We hit the Guardians, the Brewers, and the Rangers. I don't really feel like you guys are going to be telling me too much different. Okay, Aaron Lilly says, I like the Mets. Now I'm going to start by saying why, and then we can move on from there. Jason Gordon says Mets. Okay. Interesting. Because we're going to put it out. I'm going to say this right now. I don't agree. I have them 12th in top stack. So middle of the pack. We have 20 teams. I have them 17th in value. Also not great. There's a park that plays down runs. And we have Cutter Crawford on the opposite side. So, Crawford. 216x ISO to lefties this year. But it's sort of just power and nothing else. 317x WOBA was fine. 298x WOBA to righties. Good. Get swinging strikes there. If you add in last year, it's pretty much the same thing. It's either home runs or nothing, though, against Crawford. If you can get him for power, it's there. But he doesn't really get blown up otherwise. 298x WOBA to lefties over the past 2 years and 291 to righties. That's real. So I don't love this spot. Now, lefty power dies in New York. It's the righties that you'd be worried about. So we're talking like Tyler O'Neill, Danny Jansen, if you're like worried about the home runs. But as I look at the Mets, I don't love the spot. I don't love the park. 4.4 run implied total. They rank very low in top stacks. What are you guys seeing for the Mets? Because this doesn't strike me as a spot you want to get to. Four Prong Dinger said Toronto. Jack Adams says Seattle. DJ and Stoner says the A's. Good Guy says the Braves. We've done that one. Couldn't tell you, just like them. I'm sure I'll come back and hate this, but the only, I guess you do get a tiny amount of ownership to Cutter Crawford. I mean, you guys can see it on the screen. I have one share of Mark Vientos, and that's it. So if we look at Seattle, that one got said twice. 5% top stack odds, 9th top stack, 10th top value. I mean, I have some Seattle. I have 8%, so I don't. This is not like a disagreement here. JT Ginn, I'm guessing. Hard to say with the letters in front of it, but JT Ginn is not somebody we're worried about. Just to double check that. Let's check his profile. 25. The number 17 ranked A's prospect. Okay. We're not sweating this dude at all. Definitely like Seattle on paper. Salaries look good. What's really hurting you here is the fact that the park limits homers. That's our biggest issue. That's really the issue. Makes it a little tough. If we look at the park factors, we'll do both hands, not rolling. So just homers in general. The Oakland A's are second from the bottom. 81 park factor overall for homers. The only park that is worse for power is Oracle Park. If we just want to take a rolling average and really get an idea of it, 82 park factor for homers, 78 for Oracle Park. The only downside to Seattle right now is that this park kills power. Just completely nerfs it. Kind of sucks. But I'm happy to have some. I mean, I have 8%. They're 5% owned. I'll take some JP Crawford at 5% in the leadoff spot for a $4,200 shortstop. Yeah. DJ and Stoner, Rockies, I won't even look at. All right, we've got a couple Torontos as well. Let's look at them first, and then we can talk about the rest of this slate. So Toronto has Tyler Phillips on the opposite side. Not someone we're worried about. If we look at Phillips, he's 26. He's not a prospect. He doesn't strike anybody out. He gives up homers. All that looks good. Park's fine. It's pretty much neutral across the board. You certainly have power in the lineup. They are a little annoying to stack. You can't have Horowitz and Guerrero in the same lineup. You start with two outfielders. Kirk is fine at 3,300. I probably like Toronto more than the data is showing. So I'm with you guys there, but I'm really just neutral, and that's it. I'm not sure that we are going to be able to run the single game sim. But before we even get to anything like that, we got to talk about something else. You guys see it on the screen right now. You should be following stochastic_com on Twitter, or you can click the links that are in the description of this video. But the NFL is here. The first NFL show, the first NFL live show that we have for this season is coming up next. In 30 minutes, 10 a.m. Eastern time, you get some NFL talk on the Stokastic YouTube channel. What better way to start that off than by signing up at Stokastic, by clicking the link or heading to this tweet, or just simply using the promo code KICKOFF when checking out. You get week 1 access to either our light package or our core package for $1. This includes the pre-contest sim, the contest generator, all of our projections, ownership, single lineup generator, and more. You see it on the screen right now. If you want to just learn more about it, click the links in the description so you can see what we have. But for $1 for the first week of the NFL season, you will not find a better deal elsewhere. This will get you in the door and get you set up for week 1. This is going to help you for Thursday showdown, Friday showdown, all of Sunday, Sunday night football, 2 Monday night football games. There are so many slates over the next week that you can get value for $1. Don't sleep on it. You know you're going to sign up for something for the NFL. Don't put it off. At least get it today or tomorrow so that you have it for Thursday and you'll have it for the full week. DGen Stoner, we can't even look at the Rockies. I have them with a 0.8% chance to be the top stack, and they're not even a good value. They have Brenton Doyle and Tovar are both north of 5K. McMahon and Togley are both in the mid-4s, and they face Chris Sale. You're not going to find much worse spots. They're basically impossible to roster. They're so expensive that even their stack score sucks. So we've looked at just about every team at this point. We've looked at pitching, which I really don't have anything. Like, we don't have to talk about Chris Sale or Paul Skeens. Everybody knows what we're getting there. Aaron Savali is the guy that I'm getting to. We can dig into that if we want. He's like a completely average pitcher. It's not a great park. The Cardinals are sort of like an average team. I think this just happens to be the one spot I can get to. All right, I'm pulling up the single game lineup sim. I want to see if I load my shit, will it use my shit? All right, single lineup sim. Nope, no slate. All right, projections are up 5 minutes ago, so we might actually get this in the next couple of minutes. We just have to wait for ownership to hit. But once that happens, we're right as rain. So let's wait it out for the next minute or two, see if we get some ownership, and if not, then we're going to have to dip. Anything else you guys want to look at? Let me look at weather quickly. Nothing. Clean slate for weather. We have absolutely nothing. Every single play, nobody's even like projected to get a sprinkle. Every single game is basically 0% precipitation, except for Rockies Braves, which is 1%. I guess we could take a look at my most exposed players. So for right now, this is my list in order. Jung, Garcia, Tommy Edman, Perkins, Kwan, Semien, Jimenez, Soler. We'll take Soler out. Those are the guys that I have more than 20% of. So it's pretty flat. Best hitter on the slate for today, Aaron Judge. I don't think it's close. Then Stanton, then Ohtani. Remember, that's relative to salary. But if you want to say not relative to salary, Judge, Ohtani, Betts, Stanton. Can I recap the Rangers quickly? Absolutely. So you've got Rodon on the hill. Lefty, gives up major power to righties. The big stands are going to be Semien, Jung, and Garcia. And then feel free to work in everybody else. Seager still hits lefties pretty well, so I will never care about getting a shortstop like that. But, you want to fill it out with any one of Langford, Kelly, Foscue, I think that's all fine. They're easy to get to. The matchup plays it out well. The park plays up righty power. I like this. I love the Rangers today. I hope I end up with more. I'd like to fill out a little bit more with Seager, Langford, Foscue. To me, they're the best stack on the slate, like relative to ownership. I think there's so much upside in these righty bats. Well, guys, I'm not entirely sure we're going to be able to get this done. I think I could do one thing and one thing only. I think I could run one quick run of the stochastic sims. And then we're going to have to pack it in. I'll be in Discord later tonight. It's a good slate to play, and I will be playing it. I've got tons of bets on my marketplace right now. If you guys want to sign up, go to the Odd Shopper Marketplace. I loaded in a bunch of home run plays to start today, and we will be getting a bunch more other types of plays after this show. But I think for now, we have to pack it in. This is very, very interesting. It's a weird slate. So can we get this? If we do, I'll take a look at what the top lineup is, and then we'll dump on out of here. But again, I don't want you guys to forget, NFL is coming up next. If you want to watch it live, great. If you don't want to watch it live, you don't have to do that either. It will be available for you to watch at any time. Laffy and Ben, the first NFL strategy show of the year, coming up 10 a.m. Eastern time. I know those guys are excited to talk about football. I'm pretty sure you guys will be excited to hear them talk about football. So, come on. Let's finish this off. We'll look at the top lineup, and then we'll get out of here. Turn this one over to the NFL crew. And again, sign up for the NFL package. The links are in the description. It's $1 with the promo code kickoff. You find out that you don't like it, that's fine, but don't sleep on $1 promotion to start the season. I think you'll stick around because that single lineup sim tool is the coolest shit we've ever done. We're almost there. Compiling results. Yeah, I really thought that was going to work. Man, can you imagine if you really were the Fonz and you just went around like bumping soda machines and getting a drink and stuff? Man, that must be good old days. All right, number one lineup. Coming out of the sim, 4-4 Milwaukee, Texas stack. Fucking big brain in this. Sale and Singer, Contreras, Foscue, Semien, Jung, Adames, Churiel, Langford, Hicklin. Guys, I mean, I basically explained why that lineup is like my favorite thing to do during the show, and it shows up as our number one. You get a 5-3 Atlanta, Toronto, a 5-2 Yankees, Philly, Cardinals, Brewers, Atlanta, Cleveland. If we save the top 50, what do our exposures look like? All of the Sale, Atlanta, and Milwaukee as the main teams. That makes quite a bit of sense. All righty, folks, that's where we stand. Another one in the books. MLB strategy show every single day, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m., unless we have an early slate. If we have a real call it let's say 4 games or more on the early. This is going to be a live before lock and you'll get me. But otherwise, we're going to get on out of here. Good luck tonight, everybody. Sign up for NFL and don't forget, NFL Strategy Show coming up next, 10 a.m. Eastern time, right here on the Stochastic YouTube channel. Good luck, everybody. You're playing for second, though. Sorry.